Hello, people of the space. rLounge here. Every now and again, we experience moments which cause us to ask ourselves some serious questions after people funk with our energy. Today, we get to hear from people bitten by the "Am I the a-hole" bug? Let's offer them some remedies to fight off these hateful beasties. First up, am I the a-hole for kicking out my boyfriend's cousin and family out of my house? Honestly, I find this so ridiculous, but everyone in my life thinks I'm an a-hole. Also, throwaway account because I don't want anyone to find out about this. By the way, not their real names. I, 24 male, have been in a relationship with my 24 male boyfriend, Jay, for 2 years now. And we are planning on moving into my house next month, but things don't look that way anymore. I'm an orphan. I lost my parents 3 years ago, and me and my brother, Sam, 20 male, inherited our parents' house and quite a lot of money. I wouldn't call us rich, but we are definitely comfortable. My parents were hit by a drunk driver, and it took me over a year in therapy to get over it. My brother is still going, and things have been getting better, but he still grieves a lot. We both got the house, but he wanted nothing to do with the house and asked me to buy him out of it, and I agreed. The house is now in my name, and we got him an apartment 20 minutes from me, so we are still close to each other. When I met my boyfriend, I opened myself up again and fell in love, and we have a wonderful relationship. The only problem is his cousin, Mike, 21 male, he hates me, like a lot, and I honestly have no clue why. He hated me before I even met him. Jay defends him, but tries to at least make him act nice in front of me. 3 days ago, I hosted a party at my house. In my house, I have a lot of pics of my parents, me, my brother, and all of us together. It makes me feel as though they are still with us, and we are still a happy family. At my party, my friends, Sam, Jay, and his family, were invited, and me and my boyfriend were planning on telling everyone that we were planning on moving in together. I was so excited, and Sam seemed to be enjoying himself for the first time in a long time, so I was pretty darn happy. Before we got to tell everyone, Mike looks at my brother and points to a picture of my parents and says, "I'm glad they aren't here. The way they raised your brother makes them seem like crap parents." My brother got up and told me what he told him and left. I was heartbroken. He seemed to be happy for once, and his cousin ruined it. We told Jay to either remove Mike from my home, or I would. Jay got defensive and said they were messing around, and that my brother needs to be able to take a joke about stuff like this. I said, "You have 3 minutes to throw him out, or I will." I set my timer and waited it out. My boyfriend didn't seem to think I was serious, and when time was up, I told everyone that Mike is no longer welcome in my house, and if he didn't leave now, I would call the cops. His family said if he goes, then they go. Here's why I think I might be an a-hole, but still think my actions were justified. I told him, "I don't give an F about you all when you can't even teach that effer manners, so get the F out." They left, and my friends helped me calm down. They said they get that I was mad, but I was out of line. Jay has threatened to break up with me, and my brother just said to forgive them, but I can't. So am I the a-hole for kicking my boyfriend's family out? Edit. Just wanted to say that his family backed Mike as well. That's why I said what I said. Okay, first of all, I am so sorry for your loss. Losing somebody that you're close with, especially family, is never easy. Secondly, I think the fact that your boyfriend wasn't willing to stand up for you and your brother is a red flag. It seems a bit insensitive, especially after the loss of your parents. Somebody that you're planning to spend the rest of your life with should have compassion and empathy towards such a sensitive matter. Yes, Mike may have been joking, but given the fact that you already know he doesn't like you, it seems a bit malicious. Knowing how your boyfriend and his family reacts to these types of things now is important. In times like these, you have to ask yourself if you truly want to be a part of Jay's life because it's a package deal. His family will come with him, and that goes for any partner that you choose to be with. What do you think of the idea of a package deal? Would you stay with your partner if their family was less than ideal? Let us know in the comments below. Alright, now on to the update. I had a long talk with my brother. He says that if I want to forgive Jay, then I should do that, and that he will be by my side no matter what, but he won't ever be in the same room as Mike again. And if I ever host a party or anything like that, and Mike's there, he won't go. Jay and I had a talk today at lunchtime. I took a sick day and just wanted this to be over, so I could go on with my life. Jay came to my house, and the first thing he said was, "Ready to go apologize to Mike?" And I told him that if he didn't change his tone and cut the crap, that I would throw the door in his face. He looked shocked at my response, and came in and sat down so we could talk. I told him that what Mike said is just evil and that I won't have him disrespect my late parents and my brother. I told him that I won't ever be in the same room as him again. Jay stayed quiet, took his phone out, sent a text, and then he started to talk. He basically said that it was meant as a joke and that me and Sam took it way too personal, which made me yell at him, and we almost argued about 10 minutes more. Then Mike showed up. I looked at Jay and he told me to just hear him out. Being the idiot I apparently am, I did. He said, and I quote, "I'm sorry you and your brother can't take a joke, but can we get past this now?" I said to Mike, "Get out." And he left Jay, started to yell, but I just said we're over and told him to get out. He started crying and told me he was sorry. I just took my keys back and threw him out. I'm not even sad. I'm just hurt and angry. But thank you to all of you. Your comments helped and I'm grateful. This whole thing will probably sink in later today or tomorrow, so once again, thank you to all of you. Oh, right. I haven't blocked him yet as I still need to get some of the things I left at his place, but after that, I will block him and his family. What you did took some courage. It's not easy sticking up for yourself or your family. Being in the middle of a situation like that is hard. I commend you. You made the right decision. You and your brother have been through a lot, and you need to stick together. If others can't understand or respect that, that's on them. It's important to set boundaries, and the fact that your brother was willing to have your back if you were to forgive Mike says wonders about his character, clearly disproving Mike's opinion of how your parents raised him. Also, you need to protect your assets. You're a comfortable homeowner. It's important to keep people in your life who won't take advantage of you and your assets. Sometimes, things don't work out for reasons that we don't quite know in the heat of the moment. It often makes way for bigger and brighter things. Alright, time for some more comments. Ting Tong Ting 12 says, "What the actual F? You dodged a bullet right there. Actually, judging from how his family reacted, you dodged a whole lot of bullets." Human Waste 000 says, "Wow, you made the right decision. I am so proud of you for standing up for your brother and your beliefs. You are a really good brother. A joke is only considered a joke when the people involved in it find it funny. What Mike said was purely evil, and I bet 100% they would have blasted at you if you had said what he said. I think you dodged a bullet here where all of these issues came up before you moved in with your now ex. Trust me, there is definitely someone way better out there for you. Please stay strong and safe." Next up, we see adults behaving badly when money is involved. Hold on to your wallets. Update. Am I the a-hole for no longer making toys and furniture for my former sister-in-law after her new husband called them an embarrassment and me cheap for not paying for stuff? My brother died before his firstborn child was born. Because of this, I've had an above-average involvement in my nephew's life. One thing I've always done is build him toys and furniture. It was a way of providing without the awkwardness of handing over cash. Also, between my late brother's cash and life insurance via work, a trust was set up for my nephew for about £500,000. He wasn't actually married to my sister-in-law. Now, via the lab at work, I've made him a lot of wooden or 3D printed toys, but also some simple handmade electronic toys. My sister-in-law was always grateful for these, and my nephew, by all accounts, loves his custom toys. Fast forward 3 years, and my former sister-in-law has gotten married. I was attending my nephew's 3rd birthday, and I turned up the night before to assemble his present. It was a small climbing frame swing set I had watched better carpenters than me in the lab make. The new husband was a little standoffish, but come the day of the party, he was telling anyone who listened that I didn't pay or make the present. I had lackeys at work do it for free. This culminated in him calling all my presents an embarrassment, and given my fancy job, I could afford to splash some cash. I confronted him and my former sister-in-law, and she basically confirmed that whilst the presents were appreciated, she honestly expected more direct support from me after my brother's death. My mother stepped in and reminded her my brother paid for this house, and they regularly take cash out of the trust, approximately £10,000 a year. We walked out without hearing any worthwhile responses, but I continued to see my nephew without incident. 6 or 7 months go by, and I'm visiting only to be told my former sister-in-law was pregnant with twins, and she was wondering if I could make some duplicates of items I made for my nephew, as they needed 2 sets. I scoffed, said she had balls asking me to make stuff after she was so ungrateful, and I owe her unborn children very little. She got upset and explained her prior statements about my handmade gifts and said she felt they were kinda little things someone did as a favor, not what a family provides. That's why she's asking me now as a friend to do her a favor and manufacture duplicates. I said no, again, and her husband shouted through that it didn't matter. They would just use the trust to provide for kids like it's supposed to. I retorted that it was for my nephew and good luck assessing it for that because the trust requires my signature to pay out. I wasn't even home before he was calling me to apologize. Clearly unaware I held the reins to my late brother's money. The apology was insincere, and I asked to speak to my former sister-in-law when I confirmed again I wouldn't be manufacturing her anything. I'll still be an uncle to my nephew and be impartial when it comes to her accessing my nephew's trust, but her husband has burned a lot of my goodwill with this. Am I the a-hole for not doing her a favor after all of that? I'm so sorry to hear of your loss. My sincerest condolences. You are not an a-hole at all for what you did. You are right to decline a favor. It's a favor after all, and you aren't inclined to say yes. It's so cool that you were able to provide your nephew with such unique and personalized toys that were specifically for him. Those are the kinds of memories that children remember for the rest of their lives, and they often become lifelong keepsakes. It seems like her new husband's comments came from a place of envy. He may even felt intimidated by you for being in charge of a large sum of money for a child that isn't his own. It's unfortunate that they changed their tune as soon as they realized you were in charge of the funds for your nephew. But you're absolutely right. The money is for your nephew, not for the children she is having with her new husband. It's money that your brother would have used to raise his child had he not passed away. Let us know about an awkward moment you had with family and funds. What did you do in this situation, and how did it pan out? Update. So, I've had a few requests for an update, so here it goes. As highlighted in the comments of my last post, the main issue wasn't whether I manufactured anything for my former sister-in-law, it was the money my brother left his son. So whilst I felt it was an overreaction to their behavior to withhold gifts, I came to the conclusion I was underreacting to her husband's comments regarding my nephew's money. So I contacted the solicitor involved and pushed more responsibility onto them for signing off on money being withdrawn from the trust. She is required to enforce the trust documentation fully, and this has meant no more withdrawing money without explicit proof it was for my nephew's benefit. To my former sister-in-law's credit, she understood why I did this. She was sensible enough to see these boundaries were not my doing, but the insurance company's, and nothing has changed in regards to our relationship and the time I spent with my nephew. Unfortunately, her husband took things badly and hasn't spoken to me since. On top of this, for the following months, he became incredibly petty regarding money. He would track to the last penny everything my nephew ate, drank, or played with. He was doing things like putting restaurant orders through with my nephew's food on a separate receipt, or keeping track of prescription charges just so he could be in a position to claim the maximum of value from the trust. The stress of raising their twins seemed to have stifled this. Despite all the tracking, I've not been asked to sign off on anything thus far, but those receipts could still be claimed for. It's unfortunate, but I can't protect this money from legitimate, if petty, claims. I also fully expect the house bought with my brother's money would go to the husband were my sister-in-law to die given their children together. She owns it outright with no strings attached. I've kept a close eye on how my nephew is being treated, and by all accounts this hasn't trickled down to how my sister-in-law, her husband, treat him at all. This seems to have been kept as a disagreement between adults regarding money, and my mother, who regularly babysits, claims her husband appears to be continuing to treat my nephew like his own. Despite that, our faith in my nephew's money being the safety net it was always intended to be has been shaken, so my recently departed grandmother got the ball rolling on starting a second, much more ironclad, pool of money for my nephew. It's nothing overly elaborate, just money my late brother would have been entitled to, skipping straight to my nephew. Ideally, this won't have to be relied upon, but between what my grandmother set aside and her mother's intended will, my nephew will have enough for a head start in life regardless of what happens to his existing money. It isn't a perfect solution, but when it comes to inheritance and family money, there rarely is. Oh, and in what's kind of become a side issue, I made the furniture in the end. Let's get a couple more comments. Walk to the Brook says, not the a-hole. First, my condolences on the loss of your brother. Your sister-in-law is beyond entitled. She lives in a house for by your late brother and benefits from a trust, and then has the gall to criticize your gifts to your nephew? Outrageous. One more from Sensitive Cover. Not the a-hole. Sorry for your loss. Your brother was so smart to give you control over the trust for your nephew. That ensures your nephew's position is protected both financially and in this new family. Sister-in-law's new husband is bad news, and she doesn't seem to have good judgment. If you didn't have oversight on things, I bet your nephew would have been robbed and neglected by these greedy people.